and 1.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of our Lion Paws Chats. That's P-A-U-S-E. As everybody knows, we are still under our pandemic quarantine situation as far as getting back to fight action, but hopefully we'll have some news on that within the next 3 or 4 weeks. Just to let everybody know, we are working as quickly as possible with a number of different venues and commissions to try and get back into action sometime this fall, perhaps a couple of times, maybe even 3 times before the end of 2020, and then already starting our schedule for 2021. But we're really excited on this edition to be going essentially coast to coast. We'll start off in West Covina, California with Lion Fight's North American welterweight champion, the very popular El Gato, Josh Aragon. And Josh, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Can you guys see me here?
There we go. We got you now. All right.
I'm doing great. How about you guys south? Everybody good?
I think
good.
Everybody's
Very
good. Everybody's
Awesome.
good. And we'll go to just outside Chicago, Lake Forest, Illinois, with Lion Fight's very popular ring announcer, Mike Vale. Mike, how are things going?
Doing just fine. Thank you.
You wouldn't be here if you were an unpopular ring announcer, right?
And I guess you're right. I'll take it. No, here in sunny, nice Lake Forest, Illinois, and enjoying the day and happy to be a part of this. Thank you for the opportunity.
We appreciate you jumping on. And then over to King, North Carolina, just outside Winston-Salem, one of Lion Fight's very, very talented up-and-coming prospects. He's had 1 pro fight, but lots more to come, and he's just got a really great family and a great story to tell. We're really happy to have John Siegel join us from North Carolina. John, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you guys? I hope you're doing well.
Awesome.
We appreciate you getting on. Justin Kwan, of course, is with us from New York City. We know how Justin is because he looks like $1 million every time he's on there.
That's right.
So we're going to start with a couple of questions for everybody. We'll go kind of around in a circle. We'll start with a couple of fun ones. And one we've been asking all of our fighters and talent and that has been on with us during these calls and stuff. And that is a dream city for you to fight in, as well as your favorite city to fight in. Mike, obviously for you, a dream city to announce in, and your favorite city so far that you have been ring announcer in. So let's maybe start with John Siegel. Of course, we know John had his pro debut with us in Albuquerque last year. But John's fought numerous other places during his amateur career. So John, favorite place you fought in so far and dream location for you to have a fight?
I think my favorite place to fight so far was by far Thailand. When we got to compete in the World Championships. It was a very unique experience. I think that would be by far my favorite experience. I think my dream place would be to fight would be Rajanam Stadium in Bangkok. That's probably top number 1.
I mean, obviously Muay Thai and Thailand, I mean, it
Exactly.
goes together, obviously, but is there something special about Thailand, maybe from an American fighter perspective that you could share?
It's just a unique place being able to be there where it started and having such strong competition coming out of those camps. It's just completely different. And in America, there's different levels to it. Some people can get it, some people can't. But in Thailand, pretty much there's just a broad spectrum of people who are all at that amazing level. It's top tier people.
Okay, awesome. Josh Aragon, let's go to you. You've obviously been a number of places, Vegas and London off the top of my head that we know you fought in. So favorite place that you have fought and a dream location for you to have a fight, maybe a title defense?
Let's see. My favorite place has to be Vegas, because it's local enough for everybody to come and see me, all the family and friends, and we also have a good time. Where I would like to go and probably even defend my title, let's go to New York, Madison Square Garden, or even at the casino we fight out there. I haven't been there yet, that what Lion Fight has signed with.
Sure.
I would love to be there. I heard it's great casino, nice facility. I'm ready. I'm excited. Let's get out there. Get me out there, Scott.
Well, and we know, I mean, obviously you've had a couple of great fights in Los Angeles, which has been, cool for a lot of your immediate family to be there. But what is it like to have that traveling component where you will get, 100, 150 people who will drive the 4 hours to come watch you fight in Vegas?
It means a lot to me, it means a lot. That's why I have a connection with almost all of them that come and see me, you know what I mean? So it's great, and it's just to have them out there, hearing them cheer me on, and, especially in those last couple rounds when you get tired and exhausted, that extra boost, when you hear them cheering for you and they're still going for you, even though there's, some tough rounds, it feels good. It feels great to have that support.
And it's always cool to see your boys after a fight too, because they
exactly.
jump in the ring
that
with
we have
you
a good time.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Actually, one of my favorite places that I fought at too was actually the Coliseum with you guys in Lion Fights.
Okay.
It was a historical place. It was in my hometown, my backyard. So you gotta love it. That was one of
cool setting too, right in front of that
year.
historic stadium. Yeah. Unbelievable.
That was awesome. Awesome. Yep.
Let's go to Mike Vale. Mike, favorite place you have done a ring announcer work, and a dream spot that you would love to do that?
Yeah, I've been at this for over 20 years and have enjoyed many different venues, outdoor, indoor. I would have to say one of the tops is most recently, about a year ago, when my first event with Lion Fights was Foxwoods Casino. I just know the history behind it. I remember many years ago watching fights live in that actual venue, and to be able to be standing, center ring doing a fight there live was really, really cool. I like the intimate setting. Mm-hmm. The crowd is just, you don't get that sense on television watching, but when I got there and I walked in, I said, my gosh, people are right on top of you. And I really enjoyed the energy that crowd brings. You could reach out and touch them, practically. So I would say Foxwoods was one of my favorites as of now. And dream would probably be, I've done some events in Las Vegas, of course, the fight capital, but I would say like an MGM or Mandalay Bay, something like that, a big venue like that would be incredible to do something like that one day. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to do places like the Downtown Events Center. I mean, that's such a cool setting, with all the great hotels around you downtown. But it would be something that amazing, big venue in Vegas,
Yeah, for sure. I enjoyed that. You're right. That Downtown Events Center was an awesome venue. It really was. I really liked the whole setup there.
And I mean, Josh will know too, from fighting at the Hard Rock. I mean, the Hard Rock, in Vegas is no more. But I mean, talk about what a setting that is, and just that great venue too.
Yeah, it was great. Absolutely. It's great because you can hear everybody, you interact with the crowd. You're so close, just like you said. Mike might have even got some blood on him a couple times from some elbows. Right?
Oh, yeah.
That's a great thing
I was doing this a lot. I was covering my face.
Oh, yeah. Blood on you,
I think the worst I ever got that was at Foxwoods when Ricardo Mixco fought. That would have been just before you were there, Mike, when Ricardo had his second fight with Lion Fight. And I mean, it was scary. I mean, there was just, I remember that fight. I said he threw. Yeah. And every punch he threw was just flying. The canvas
on the ring was full of blood when I seen it on, even from TV watching it,
Yeah.
Where was the cut? Was it above the eye or typically forehead, right, where it bleeds?
You know what? I think the guy that he fought, I think a couple there was a couple of elbows, I think a little bit higher up in the forehead. And then I remember specifically too seeing, obviously not a cut, but just a bad bleed out of the nose. So every time, Ricardo would throw that next punch or that next kick or the elbows, it was like a tidal wave coming off the guy, and
yeah, I bet.
Unbelievable.
That's why Muay Thai is the funnest sport in the world for combat. It's the most bloodiest as well.
You're not lying. You're not lying.
Yes.
That's for sure.
Hey,
exactly.
Hey, Josh, on that note, do you think that, people, they want to see that, right? And I think more so the American fan than maybe a fan in Europe or a fan in Asia, that they like that blood sport aspect of it?
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. That's what they need. The American fans, they need that. They need that blood. They need that sweat and tears and that hardship. That's what it is. It's a background story. America likes to follow a person with the story. They like to see them come up from 0 to 100, and that's what fighting is about. It gives them that opportunity, come from nothing to something and become something, So, and I think for us in Muay Thai, we need to connect with that so they can actually connect with our fans a little bit more and give them another extra, show them our world, show them a piece of it, show them how the struggles are, it's not just all fame and TV and you're making money, we do it because we love this sport. We actually love it, and I think if we start connecting with our fans in that fan base, it's going to, we're going to do some great things in Muay Thai. It's getting there already. It's there right now, So we just got to keep doing, especially Lion Fight, like you guys, putting it out there on the national level, international level, where people can watch you across the world. You know, I get messages from all around the world, you know, after a fight, and it's inspiration to me. It keeps me going and keeps me motivated, you know. So that's a great thing about fighting.
It's absolutely one of the things that we want to, you know, keep developing. It has started, I think, this year and at the tail end of last year, and I think it's something that we want to keep working on into 21, is tell more stories when we can. I think things like these Zoom chats are great for it. You know, we can have longer discussions, or we can pull pieces of a longer discussion out, you know, make a highlight of talking about various topics and things. So I think it's great. And you mentioned something, you know, it started out kind of funny to me, because you were talking about the blood and you know, how the wars go with these fights. And I look at John Siegel, look at that, you know, he's what, 21, 20 years old. Look at that baby face he's got. Probably never been marked up once in his life. But I wanted to talk to John and start off by bringing everybody into loop about John's family a little bit. It's quite a tale. John's told it to me a couple of times, and we've taken rides together, and I know a little bit of it. But John, 10 kids in your family, is that right?
Indeed, there's 5 boys and 5 girls in my family. And
okay. And you have to tell, now Josh has a fairly big family. He's got 3 boys, you know, but you got to tell Josh and Mike about the bus.
So we do have a big van currently that everybody rides around, and some of the kids are older and they've moved out, but we had this big van.
John, a van or a school bus? With 10 kids, you're gonna need a school bus.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, it's a van right now. My mom's actually got a bigger van now. I think it's a 15-seater, so she can get her grandkids in it when she's home. But yeah, that's what we drive around in. What
are the age ranges from youngest to oldest? I'm curious.
So the oldest, I believe, is 27 currently, and the youngest is 7.
Wow.
She's 7.
Wow.
Yep.
20 years. Wow.
So John, and I also wanted to bring in the fact that, I mean, your dad is the ultimate American hero, really, in a lot of ways. Former Navy SEAL, and now a state trooper. And
retired state trooper, actually. He retired about 3 months ago, I believe. Yep.
Okay. And we wanted to follow that up with you, because you are going to be juggling a fight career and becoming a state trooper. So maybe just tell everybody a little bit about what the future holds for you in that short span of now getting back to fight, hopefully in the next couple of months, and also going to the academy to be a state trooper.
Currently, state trooper school is 6 months away. I believe I'll start in December if I get accepted, which I believe I will. But it's actually not going to be as difficult as I assumed it would be, because being able to fight will get me in shape to go to trooper school, which is great because you have to be in really good physical shape. So that's going to kind of help me along that ride there. As far as in state trooper school, I won't be able to fight while I'm in there, but afterwards I'll be able to get back after it.
That's been, I would say, pretty much a dream for you for a long time, was you know, perhaps military service and then law enforcement. Maybe just talk about what you expect maybe your career path to be like in terms of being able to fight and be a state trooper. Is it something that you see you could do for maybe 10 years or so?
I would see no reason why not. There's a lot of professional athletes that have done that. I can't remember who's that one Green Beret who was a UFC fighter, Tim Kennedy. He juggled military life and being a special operator and being a UFC fighter at the same time. And there's no reason I can't do the same with state patrol.
And I think there's probably more. I know John Alessio, the former UFC and Bellator fighter, is a cop here in Vegas. Actually, just got promoted to detective. So, you know, very cool for you know, guys like that. Do you think there's just a natural connection between law enforcement and being a professional fighter?
I would think so. A lot of law enforcement train continuously in jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, boxing. They do it to keep themselves sharp on the street, but also to learn because they enjoy the sports aspect of it. And there's definitely a connection there, just because they have to have a violent job sometimes, and they like to take that out in the gym sometimes too. So there's definitely a connection there.
I would think a measure of discipline probably too, right? There's
definitely, because a lot of law enforcement are former military too. So even in law enforcement or military, they all have discipline and martial arts. You definitely have to have that, or you won't do anything.
Okay. Michael Vale, I wanted to talk to you. I know, obviously, ring announcer, you do a tremendous job at that. It's not a full-time job, but you're also a fitness trainer and coach kind of thing. I wanted to ask you on that note, does your experience being a trainer give you a little bit more insight into being a ring announcer? Obviously, you're not cornering fighters and things like that, but I think it probably gives you a deeper appreciation for what the fighter goes through to be prepared to get in that ring.
Absolutely. That's a good question, Scott. Yeah, I've been personal training for over 27 years. I've been working with athletes about 20 of those years. And for sure, you get a unique perspective when you're in the trenches with these guys, you know, every morning getting up and working with them and going through fight camps. I got an opportunity to work with Freddie Roach at Wildcard Gym when I lived in Los Angeles. I was one of his strength coaches for about a year and a half and got to work with some professional fighters and got the taste of what these guys commit to at the highest level. And it's a commitment that a lot of people don't appreciate. That's why I like a lot of these, like a lot of 24/7 events and things like that, where people get an idea to kind of see what athletes, especially through YouTube, it's become much more popular when athletes kind of share with you what they do and what they go through. And I really have a sense of appreciation as a strength coach working with athletes to see what they go through and what they do with their workouts. So for sure, that gives me a good perspective and understanding when I'm working with the athletes. I'm always careful around, on the weigh-ins when I'm gathering information and try not to be a nuisance, you know what I mean? Because I understand.
Because Mike knows we're grumpy at that time. That's right. We're hungry, we're thirsty. He knows the deal,
Oh, yeah. So make it limited, quick. Now, hey, Scott makes my job easy, so I don't have that much to do, but, I appreciate him for doing that. But, yeah, but either way, yeah, so I definitely get a sense of that, and like I said, I got a wonderful opportunity to work with some professional fighters. I had a chance to work with Andy Ruiz back in the day when he was 8-0, 9-0, and Peter Quillen, Paulie Malignaggi. So I got a chance, Amir Khan, at that highest level, and the pressure of these guys that are put on them, the responsibilities and the dedication it takes. So for sure, it gives me a unique perspective as a ring announcer / strength and conditioning coach, for sure. Yep.
Josh, you're immersed in fighting, I would say, almost 24 hours a day, because not only do you have your own preparation, you coach, you do private training and things like that. Does working with other fighters help you prepare for a fight? Yeah,
I mean, of course, you always have your training partners, especially from the gym, but at a certain level, you have to start bringing in different people to see different looks, especially when you get to a certain level, you're not fighting guys from the state, you're just fighting guys international now, so you want to see different looks from, softball to righty, so lefties or righty, orthodox. So some are strong with hands, some are strong with kicks, so you kind of try to bring some guys in to, imitate that style that you're fighting, but really focus on my own training as well, not really getting too deep and worried about bringing guys in, if they're there, great. You know what I mean? If they're not, then we're still going to get our job done,
Josh, wanted to ask you, we talked real quick about a couple of fights last year. So far, I would say the crowning achievement of your career was winning that North American welterweight title with a win over Marcos Vasquez. Talk to us a little bit about reaching that goal after that would have been, I think, about your 20th or 21st fight, somewhere around there. And just what it was like that night to finally get recognized as the best welterweight in North America.
It meant a lot to me, and especially in that in your guys' promotion. It's a good platform. It's a great stage for Muay Thai and getting your name out there on the big level. For Muay Thai game. So it meant a lot to me for people knowing and seeing that and actually getting the recognition and winning the title. It actually motivated me to do more and do better on each fight. I mean, mind you, my last fight, I was really sick and I looked like crap, but I went out there and I pulled it out, So sometimes we're going to have those times, in training. I know all these guys, John, Justin, Mike, you've seen it, we go through that, not every camp is going to be, especially in Muay Thai. That's how it is. I mean, 90% of the fights I can't even name a fight where I've been 100%, So it's either an injury or a sickness or some sort of other stress, especially, and could be financial, it could be mental, and so many different ways, But that's why I think I love the sport of Muay Thai, because you get in there and it's all worth it when your hands raised and you're up there and you put in that work and that effort. And I respect every fighter too, because even if you didn't win, you gave it all you got and you fought and you made me a better fighter. You know what I mean?
Excited
Agreed.
about potentially defending that belt, hopefully by, say, October or so. I know two of your main rivals, kind of thing are both Canadian guys, Jake Peacock, Will Romero. They're both, basically at your heels in that number one, number two contender spot. Is that something that you're already getting motivated for, is defending that belt?
We've been trained. We're ready, Scott. We're waiting for you to give us a date, brother. Let's go. We can get it. And I know everybody's ready. I know all the fighters on the same level. We're itching. We're waiting. So as soon as you tell us, we're locked and loaded. And whoever you give me, I'm excited and I'm ready. They're both great opponents. I'm ready to put on a show and show you guys what actually we've been working on. Actually we've been putting in that work.
We're excited to have you. We're excited to have you back. Because, like you said, the fight against Vasquez was tremendous. You had such a good outing that night. Probably a little bit rougher outing, although you did win against Damian Segovia. So, while you're getting prepared, and there's been so much, maybe extra time in some ways getting ready for your next fight because of the pandemic, should we expect to see anything new from you in this coming fight, or refined at all when you do defend the belt?
Oh, we got some new stuff coming up. You're going to see some nice and new good moves in there. Not only that, you're going to see me at my best performance. I've actually had time to put in more time into myself, right? Where I'm not as busy at work, so I'm able to put in two a days with full time, eating right, training right. When you're working and training, it's a lot harder, especially juggling the kids, the family life and all that, but we make it happen. Right now, I'm excited to go out there and show you the new Josh. Let's say 2.0 Elgato's coming to the house.
You've used up one of those Elgato's 9 lives, right? So now it's time to bust out a new one.
Tell me about it. My wife tells me that all the time. Look at my face. I've used a couple of them.
John Siegel, it's been a while since we've seen you in action, but you had an unbelievable coming out party in Albuquerque last April. Just destroyed your opponent, really, in a lot of ways. There was no jitters for you being a first-time pro or any of that. Can you?
Oh, there was jitters. I just didn't show them.
Just didn't show them. Okay, all right. Can you talk about maybe a little bit of what that's like to make that jump from the maybe protected atmosphere of amateur fights into that you're out there on your own now, no protection, go get them in the pro ranks?
Man, it's a little different because I think I had almost 36 amateur fights. So after the last 10 or 15 of them, most of the protection was gone besides maybe some elbow pads or something. But so I wasn't really scared about that per se. But before every fight, it's just gut wrenching to me. I'm like, there's a dude across there that's getting ready to tear off my head. But as soon as I get in the ring and maybe get punched once or twice or start to move and hit somebody, I'm like, oh, okay, I can do this. I've got it. And then my confidence just starts to soar and I just go after it because I'm already there. Why not?
Sounding like an experienced man, John,
Right. Exactly. It's definitely scary, but it's worth it.
I'll tell you this, those nerves don't go away, but they get better. And you learn how to use it, that. You already sound like an experienced one, so that's good, John.
A pretty unique scenario in that fight too, because I know Mike and Josh, you didn't get a chance to see it, but John was doing so well. I guess you could say he was kicking ass, that so badly that the guy, kind of wiped the blood off his forehead, looked at his glove, and just said that's it. It was a no mas situation.
He said he's really fighting me now. This is for real.
That's it.
So I wanted to ask John though, for those people that know you and those people that are going to get to know you over the last little while, you are like probably the most polite guy I've ever met. You come from a very respectful family. That's just part of your nature. How do you flip the switch? How do you go from being this Mr. Nice Guy, young kid, got a lot looking forward to him, looking forward in his life, all that kind of thing, to I'm going to go just be violent now and kick somebody's butt?
Well, I'd say A, because I love it. And B is because probably the nice part is just because I was raised that way. I think most people should be respected until there's a point that they shouldn't be. And probably a little bit of my nature too, because of growing up with my family and my dad. It's part of the personality of being a Seagle. And when it's time to go to work, you go to work and you finish it.
Is it difficult to change that focus, you know, and just, you know, say like, you know, I remember the night that, you know, you and I went out after the weigh-in, we're kind of sitting around having some bite to eat and just chatting. And then it's like 24 hours later, it's this laser focus and the violence factor turns on. Is it tough to make that adjustment, or you just say, okay, it's 8 o'clock fight night, I got to go?
No, it's not particularly tough for me to switch it because I'm kind of used to having to switch it on a moment's notice. Being nice, you should be nice to everybody until you shouldn't. And when it's time to go to work, you go to work and you do what you got to do. And afterwards, you can be nice to people and hang out and do whatever and chit chat all night long. But when you're in the ring, you're my opponent, then it's time to get worked.
Is it a situation that you learned as a kid, like you gotta turn it on because there's only so much food on the table and there's like 9 other kids around? I gotta grab that piece of chicken before it's gone.
Maybe sometimes.
Yeah.
Mike, I wanted to ask you, you know, I mean, I think there's lots of tough aspects to every job. What is the toughest thing about being a ring announcer? Is it coming up with catchphrases? Is it coming up with, you know, how to raise the level of your tone from the prelims to the main event? What is it? Because it's not a job for everybody. You know, there's been lots of experiments over the years and people did not do a very good job that you might have thought would have been a very good ring announcer, but you do it so well and have done it for so long. So what is the toughest aspect of it?
Oh, I'd probably say for me, early on, was just getting comfortable on live television. You just kind of put it out of your mind. You're there to introduce the fighters. Remember what your job is. It's not about you. I try not to make it about me, right? First and foremost. Secondly, I kind of put the camera out of my mind and I think about television, think about the audience and why I'm here and what I'm doing. And so that to me was the biggest hurdle, was live television and getting more comfortable in that setting and putting it out of my mind and just being comfortable in that way. And that takes repetition, takes time, it takes events. So initially I would say that sometimes some of the names can be a little bit of a tongue twister, you know?
Especially when you get those Thai names, huh?
Oh my gosh, yes. And even like El Tornito, rolling the R's, right? Tornito. I can't. I don't really good with the R's, but
I gotta help you with the R's, Mike.
Go ahead. Let me
help
hear
myself, to be honest, too. Don't worry.
Let me hear a good El Tornito, because I gotta roll that one on. But some of the names can be difficult at times, for sure. So I would say some of those things. Just getting comfortable on camera at first, and just getting your repetition was initially one of the hardest things.
So fighters have idols. You know, they grow up watching a certain fighter, then they've always wanted to emulate him, or they have a current fighter that they, you know, try and follow their career. Did you have a favorite ring announcer growing up, or a ring announcer that you didn't want to copy, but maybe tried to model yourself after? It
was Michael Buffer. He's the class of the industry. I love his style, his approach. He's been a guy I've been watching since I was young. So I would say just the way he carries himself, he's dressed nicely. He doesn't really make it about himself. He's got a wonderful voice, a very relaxed approach, but yet he brings energy when he needs. You and I dressed that early on when I was working with Lion Fights. You were really good with me when it kind of gave me some coaching, and I'm always open. I always think you can grow as a ring announcer. I never feel like you're always as good as your next and your last one. And so for me, I think the relationship we have too has helped as well. You and I.
There's a fun aspect too, though, right? I mean, because you can get out there and like with, you know, Josh El Gato Aragon. I mean, you can have some fun with the name. Is that part of the charm of the position for you too, is to get out there and just have a little bit of creativity and you know, mix it up a little bit, have some fun?
Yeah, and I don't take myself too seriously. I try not to take myself seriously. I appreciate what the fighters bring to it and the work that they put into it, but you got to have some energy, you got to have fun, you got to get the crowd into it. And for sure, I agree. There needs to be some joy to brings to it, and knowing just the energy that you need to bring to it for sure is important.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go and we're gonna do about 3 or 4 of these kind of fun type questions. We had that one at the beginning with the favorite venue or city where you wanted to do a fight. We've got a few more, so we'll get to those. Let's start with John on this one, and it is the question for all 3 of you will be your favorite post weigh-in and post-fight meal. So a meal for after the weigh-in, a meal for after the fight. John, you start.
Man, my post weigh-in and post-fight meal is pasta.
Okay.
I eat it almost every week. I'm surprised I'm not overweight, but it's pasta and spaghetti.
Okay, so anything in particular though, like is it fettuccine alfredo, spaghetti
I would
meatballs?
say it's pasta with some vodka sauce on it.
Okay, all right, excellent. Josh, over to you. After the weigh-in, after the fight.
All right, so let's see. After the weigh-in, I eat like about 3 to 4 times. So I do like same thing as John, pasta. You know, stay with the complex carb, maybe the sweet potato, then some rice, just massive carbs. Then after the fight, massive sweets. You know, chocolate, donuts, all the stuff we can't eat that I kill my body and feel like crap for the next week, but it's worth it. You know, I have a great time while I do it.
So I wanted to ask you,
Arby's sandwich.
What was that, John?
Yeah.
A half-pound Arby's sandwich.
Okay.
There you go. There you go with that extra Arby's sauce, my man. You know that's fire.
Yeah. There you go.
Josh, how much Mexican food after a fight?
Man, not too much. That's the thing. My wife said I should have been Asian because I eat more Asian food than I do Mexican food. But I eat enough at the home. My wife cooks it, you know, anytime. You know, we want it. So enough, but more like Korean barbecue, sushi. You know, I'm more of that Thai food all day. That's my favorite. You know, you got to eat spicy though. You got to be able to handle it.
And then after a championship win, so you beat Vasquez, you win the title. A couple Modelos, or what do you?
For sure. I'm more of a whiskey guy. Maybe a little gin. We'll have one next fight, Scott. All right. Let's go.
All right. So Mike doesn't have to worry about the weight part at all, but he's a fitness guy. So he likes, I've seen him, you know, take the extra piece of bread out of a club sandwich, you know, that kind of thing. So,
he's got to look good on TV, Scott.
Exactly.
That's
there you go.
Yeah,
there
TV
you go.
puts on 10 pounds, right? So,
So
Mike, let's just say then, so you let's go for lunch after a weigh-in, and then out for dinner after a fight.
Oh, lunch after weigh-in, I'm going to have probably some kind of salad, some kind of chicken salad, nothing too heavy, you know what I mean? Because I don't want it to weigh me down and feel kind of bloated. I want to have the energy. So something like that, something light. And then after a fight, it just depends on where we all hang out and what we do. And I'll go for some carbs sometimes. I'm not anti-carb by any means, especially after a long night of fights and you're with everybody having a good time. So, you know, I can have some pasta. Sounds good. He mentioned that earlier. I've done that before plenty of times. So.
And I mean, you've worked your throat for so long, you might want to go out with Josh and have a nice hot toddy or something after.
There you go. Why not? Why not?
I'm going to hold you to that, Mike. That's for sure. All right. You and Scott. That's it.
No problem.
October, brother.
So let's start with Mike on this one. During all this pandemic situation, everybody spent a lot of time at home. Have you picked up a show or a movie that you've really enjoyed, or have you gone back and watched a favorite of yesteryear? Has there been anything you've been watched, anything along those lines? Recommendations.
Ton of TV and movie watching. I got 2 boys that keep me active. I got Kate and Brecken. They're 9 and 11, so we're active. Got a nice backyard. We play and do a lot of stuff. A pool back there. So if there's a lot of Disney Plus going on in the house. So if I'm gonna watch movies, it's gonna be with it. Then you know you have a son, right? Who's how old? Josh?
I have a 5-year-old and I have a 12-year-old. Yeah.
We're in the same situation.
So it's a lot of Disney Plus and then Fortnite for the other one, you know?
Fortnite, Roblox. I've become very familiar with that with the kids. We watched the movie Scoob together as a family. So yeah, it's mostly kids-oriented stuff.
All right, so Josh, we know Disney Plus at your house, but let's say, you know, it's 10 o'clock at night, the kids are down. What are you watching or reading or anything along those lines right now?
Let's see. Right now, I want to stay away from the news because it's all depressing. So I go into like me mainly like, you know, ESPN, and since there's no sports, it's like old games, you know, just old fights, things like that. Or I'm on my phone looking up camps, looking up training, you know. Even social media is a little depressing right now. So it's just like watching like old fights or current technique, things like that, you know.
Just please tell me that when you do watch ESPN right now, you are not watching those cornhole situations, those cornhole tournaments.
No. It's all old rerun games and stuff, you know.
I don't think cornhole would go over at your family gatherings all that well.
I don't even think we'd even know what cornhole is. I'm not sure, my man. gotta be honest.
John Siegel probably knows what cornhole is.
John knows what cornhole
I
is. That's what I was
definitely know
gonna
what
say. That's the
cornhole is,
right man to ask right there.
I don't want to say John is, but he comes from that part of America where I think cornhole is probably somewhat popular.
Yeah, they play a lot of cornhole around here.
Yeah. Okay,
You know
so
exactly
John,
what you're talking about.
what are you watching or going back to watch? Any binge watching right now for you?
Well, I share a room with my brothers, so when they're not watching something, I watch something. But I'm a big Star Wars fan, so I'm always watching the movies over again. And then we just finished Space Force. That was pretty hilarious. I loved it.
Okay, all right. Mandalorian, you're all caught up on all that?
I'm caught up on everything Star Wars.
Mandalorian was sick. I watched that too. I love that series.
So we got to get you a Baby Yoda shirt or something like that for
Exactly.
Okay, excellent. One more that I wanted to ask you guys about, have a little fun. So we all know you guys, you pick your own music for your walkout, whatever, band or artist or whatever you might like, but we're kind of switching it up a little bit. So instead of the song getting played, you can have the band, the song played live for you. So they'll walk out with you, or you could have somebody really cool, celebrity, whatever, in your walkout entourage. So obviously for Mike, we'll say that maybe it would be somebody that you get to announce is a special guest at ringside. So think about that for a second. We'll start with John and go, so who would you have as maybe your unbelievable person in your walkout entourage, or have actually play live for you in your walkout?
That is a really, really tough question. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I'd have a specific band come and play for me.
Okay.
Because I don't really particularly pay attention. When I walk out, I'm really just focused on getting to the ring as quick as possible because I'm probably feeling sick because I'm so nervous. But if someone was to walk out with me, it'd probably be some super, super cool dude like Dom Rosso or something like that.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Josh, to you, special guest in your walkout, or a band that's going to play you out live?
Let's see. I'm gonna have Mike Tyson come out with me, because Mike Tyson come out with you, my opponent's gonna be scared right there. So I'm gonna have Mike Tyson walk me out to the ring, hold the ring down while I hop over it with my mom calling. That'll be sick, huh?
That's the kind of thing that would happen in Vegas, right?
That's the kind of stuff that would happen in Vegas. That's why it only happens in Vegas, baby. Now you know why I picked that as one of my favorites, huh?
I think that's pretty self-explanatory,
Scott.
right? I know. Mike, for you, so band, artist, somebody special seated at ringside that you were like, I hand you a card and say, guess who's sitting at ringside? And you're like, oh, wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, live in the house, sitting ringside, let's welcome the greatest, Muhammad Ali. So I would say Muhammad Ali.
All right. That
would be cool. Incredible. I never got that opportunity, but that would have been amazing.
Yeah. Unbelievable. And I think he'd be the kind of guy that would have liked watching our fights too. He obviously loved boxing, no question, but he liked wrestling. He liked a lot of sports.
Yep, absolutely.
So wanted to kind of wrap up with you guys as to a thought or two on what you're hoping to see for Lion Fight at the end of this year and next year. Lion Fight's meant a lot to Muay Thai in the United States for a number of years now. Josh, let's go to you first and say, what are you, obviously you want to have your title fight next, but where in the scope of things for Muay Thai and Lion Fight do you see in the next few months and year?
Well, I would love to get back just for you guys to having shows started, just so Muay Thai can get back out there, and not they know we're still here, I want it to be around. And I would love for all the people who even love Muay Thai or even support it, just come out and support or watch if you can, I would love to fight anybody, Scott, that, whoever you guys put in front of me, okay? Me, I want to keep it at international fighters. I love how I get to do that and test myself at the next levels with different guys from the best guys from their part of the country, okay? But really, I would love for you guys just to get back on shows so we can all get back to work. Like not that we're not working now. We're staying ready, but you understand what I mean? So we can actually get out there and start normal life again, you know, get back to normalizing things and just for the Muay Thai to keep growing the way you guys are. You know, I don't want it to fall down. So it's real important that we can get everybody out there, especially when we have our first show. Make sure you guys buy your tickets, you know, support your local fighters, support your coaches, your teammates, all that, you know, so we can make sure that Muay Thai stays around for a long time.
That's a great point, Josh, because I mean, you know, it is a company, Lion Fight is a company that is reliant on ticket sales. I mean, we're not able to do shows without fans because it's not.
And all Muay Thai, not just, you know, most Muay Thai promotions. This is how it is. It's not, when we get there, great. But right now, let's keep that support so we can keep it going, huh?
Okay. And John, for you, you know what, you obviously want to have your second pro bout. We're anxiously awaiting that opportunity for you. It unfortunately was going to be one of those fights that was on a Vegas card not that long ago, but it just didn't happen when your opponent got hurt. But for you, what do you hope to see for Lion Fight and yourself and Muay Thai in the next little while?
Honestly, I'd just love to get back out to it. I hadn't fought in a little over a year, which is a little depressing. I'm not going to lie, but I just can't wait to get back to it. For Lion Fight, I'd like to see it grow and a lot of more people start watching. There's Muay Thai has a big community, and people need to start paying a little bit more attention to it. Because it's a huge sport. A lot of other sports like MMA rely on that general basics of Muay Thai. It's a huge sport, and I love it to death. So just getting back out there to getting it growing for me, getting to more fights to get to it.
I mean, we're looking forward to seeing you back there. Michael, Vale, for you, just a thought on Lion Fight and where we're going and what we're going to be doing.
Well, you know, during this pandemic, I've got a lot of time to spend with my wife and kids, and I enjoy that and cherish these moments, but it also allows me a pause to appreciate the things in my life that I enjoy doing that I've not been able to do. Training being one, and most importantly, my ring announcing and my first year here now with Lion Fights. I love the team. You've been nothing but professional, Scott. I've appreciated the relationship we've built working with Nathan Carnage Corbett, 11-time world champion, Matt Martucci, who's an amazing broadcaster himself. I miss the team. I miss the guys, Scott Kent, his generosity. So I'm looking forward to those weekends. The fighters put a lot on the line. I have an appreciation now, really a unique appreciation for Muay Thai, because I'd never seen Muay Thai before live. And that was my first time at Foxwoods. And I was really impressed with the action. The infighting with the elbows was something totally new to me and exciting. It adds an element that's very unique to the fight game. I've sat around many cages and rings watching fights for 20 years, but never Muay Thai until Lion Fights. And so I have a real appreciation and excitement for it. And I just can't wait for our next event and to get moving again back on the schedule for sure.
And I think, Mike, you made a great point. It's the people, right? I mean, there's just, we have, you know, we deal with so many fighters, coaches, trainers, but there really is a unique team, I guess a stable maybe for the fighters, and then as far as the team putting on Lion Fight, I mean, Josh,
Absolutely.
you got your coaches and the people that you bring to the fight. We always have a good time with them. John Siegel, I mean, we love working with your coach, Chris, awesome guy. You know, we've got a lot of things in the works with him for down the road. Mike, you know, you're coming. Justin, you come to a lot of the shows. It really is that team of everybody involved, both sides of it, the organization and the people who get in there that do it. And it really makes it something special that I don't think would happen necessarily with a lot of other promotions or organizations, period.
True. Could agree with you more. Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what makes Lion Fight special, you know? And that's why more people tune in from all over the world, you know, not just from the States, from everywhere, you know? So let's keep it up.
We obviously want to see all of you guys in the ring. Mike in a suit, and Josh and John in fight shorts and gloves and ready to rock and roll again. So guys, thank you all for joining us. Really appreciate it. We're going to keep you guys and all the fight fans informed as soon as possible on the latest. Like Josh said, you know, it's looking very good for us to get back in action here September, October. We want John back in there. We want Mike back in there. Josh to put his belt on the line. So thanks again, guys. We're looking forward to seeing you all very soon.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, everyone. I appreciate it. Absolutely, guys.
Thank you.